Hey, good morning, everyone. This is the VIP pre-market prep available for our VIPs. You can sign up at StoryTrading.com. If you're a VIP, you'll be able to see this through about noon, and then it's going to go unlisted private until it gets published at 4 p.m. So anyway, man, we got a lot to discuss. You can see my watch list here. We didn't do our Sunday night show last night. We're trying to actually get rid of our weekend shows so we can have more of our summer nights to ourselves. We'll do more shows during the week. So because of that, we'll have a longer show this morning. You can see QQQ, SPY, ARK, USO, Bitcoin. The top ones I'm monitoring here to get just an idea of health of the overall market, the tailwinds or the headwinds that may impact individual stocks. You can see the NASDAQ and SPY are still up. NASDAQ here is up against, it's right above the 20 DMA this morning because of this the green open that it's trying to have. And the SPY has a little bit more to go to the 20 DMA. So the question is, how long does this rally last? And I think I told you guys last week, I think there's now a possibility at least, I think the bottom is not in, but I think the market is looking at this with a possibility that the bottom's in, right? I don't think this market's going to go down much further without additional data at this point, right? So the big week moving average roughly, and now the market waits. How it waits, chop, different bear market rallies, crashes, whatever it is. I don't think we're going to get to lower lows unless we see data coming in that's going to look really bad for companies like Apple and Microsoft, like a deep or sustained recession. That's how you get to the next leg lower, which I think is possible. But the reason I'm not being so bearish with my positioning is I also think it's highly likely that ARKK has hit the bottom. And I called this almost out in real time as the NASDAQ and the SPY were hitting new lows. ARKK held that 35 support. And now at this point, it'll take like a 30% plus move from here to get to a new low. And this is a nice double bottom over the 50 DMA. I think there's a good chance the bottom is in for RK, and that I use that as a proxy for risk assets. Risk assets being the type of stocks I like to invest in, the type of stocks a lot of story trading people in our community like to invest in. High growth stocks that are on the cusp of profitability but not there just yet. Biotech stocks, things like that is where my focus is in. And so even if RK hasn't bottomed, we've seen plenty of stocks, plenty of data, plenty of examples of stocks which have diverged, which are above their 200-day moving average. We'll go over a few of them now, which I feel really comfortable at this point now having aggressive positions in longer term. So that's the story. I'm monitoring oil because I'd like to make sure that oil doesn't fly when the indices are going down. That'd be a bad sign, right? When the indices go down, it's about demand destruction. It's about recession concerns, GDP concerns, and you want to see that move with the market anticipating demand destruction, right? You want to see oil going down with the markets. If you see oil steady or going up on the next correction, that could be a warning sign that this is not a regular recession. This could be a stagflation, and you got to be careful. That's why I'm monitoring oil up there. And then we got Bitcoin, the ultimate risk asset, which is stable above 20,000 right now. All right, let's get into some specific stocks. Now, a lot of these stocks, most of them, in fact, are a collaborative effort by our VIP members. A lot of these are VIP picks, including now Lake Resources. We just did a presentation last Wednesday with Tony, and an excellent presentation. The video is still private, by the way. So if you're a VIP member, you can get a recording of that in the VIP announcements room. We'll probably publish that eventually, but right now it's for the benefit of our members. So we nailed this one. This stock should open gap up about 8% higher. About, I don't know what that is, 65, 66 cents. You can do the math on 61 cents times 1.08. And that'll be where it opens, and it'll be, this is following Australia, so you're not going to get much action during the day. So I'm not going to rehash the whole entire thesis. We went through it in depth in that video, and I do think that we're going to be up against 82 cents again very soon. Last week I called it, I put it out on Twitter when this thing was like 50 cents. I'm like, we're going back to 82 cents within a matter of days, and we're well on our way there. We'll probably be somewhere in this level, in between this gap today, and I think we'll be up to 82 cents in due time, sooner rather than later. So that's the story with that lithium company, which Tony just completely nailed. All right, DRIO, this is my pet stock, my largest position. Disregard the morning action here. Not enough volume, it's not meaningful. But last week, there was some idea that this stock was getting beat up on heavy volume here because of the Russell rebalancing. Maybe there was something to it because we had a huge print after the close, huge volume, which indicates that there was still rebalancing going on there on the last day. So the reason this is way up on my watch list is because the end of the quarters this week, and Erez, CEO DRIO, has promised that we would sign the top 5 national insurer to what they call phase 2 by the end of Q2. So if they're on time, which is a good chance they won't be, but if they're on time, perhaps we get a PR end of this week or early next week. And if we do, I think that'll be a major inflection point for the stock. I've talked about numerous times in other videos how important this deal is for them if it comes through. And yeah, I think this stock will eventually be headed to the 200 DMA probably rather quickly, in a matter of a couple weeks or maybe less, if that PR. At least I think we can see an event anticipation run, with people bidding up the stock towards the end of the week, hoping for that announcement to come out. I hope that happens. Not necessarily that it will, the event anticipation, but I did buy some extra trading shares on Friday to see if I could flip them here midweek or towards the end of the week. And I won't regret it if I sell them and then we get the announcement, because that's an overweight position for me. I have no business really holding it. I'm going to hold on to my entire core to hope we get that announcement soon. Now, another VIP pick from Tony, PLAB. We have an excellent presentation out on YouTube. I want to point this out because, well, you know, the relative strength here, but this was pointed out by a colleague of mine on Twitter Spaces last night in a very popular trade show, Andrew O'Connell of Pristine Capital, and he looks at things purely technically. And I just love it when you get to the same conclusion from two different perspectives, right? You have a pure technical trader, but then we have story trading that looks at things more holistically. We're looking at the fundamentals and everything else. And this is a stock I got the meat of this move here from this gap up on earnings all the way to 23. I don't know exactly where I sold and bought, but I did pretty well. And I sold recently a few weeks ago, except for 100 tracking shares. And that's because I was just trying to raise money when the market was crashing. I didn't get back in yet, and maybe I should have. But now that Andrew's giving a technical signal that this is in play, you see it's got to break over that 20 DMA. But fundamentally, I think this is easily a $22 to $25 stock, right? Easily. They're growing explosively fast. Take a look at the video at youtube.com/storytrading about the technology. We did an awesome video with Tony. And this is a stock I'd like to hold in my IRA. So I may be adding more PLAB back to my portfolio today because I only have 100 tracking shares. So excellent work there by Tony. Awesome collaboration with Andrew over at Pristine Capital. Then we got Celsius. This has been a steady holding in my IRA, especially after the Twitter Spaces we did with Jonah Lupton and Mark Gomes. It was great. Again, another example of where you have two different types of investors approaching the stock market completely differently, and they both came to the same conclusion. That was many months ago, that event. But that event gave me the confidence and conviction I needed to hold this stock. I've been selling some covered calls over the last couple of months, which turned out to be profitable. And Celsius now is against the 200-day moving average, which is why I wanted to bring it up here. It had a huge move from the 50 to 20 to 200. It's pulling back from that 200-day moving average today. I have no prediction for what it's going to do today or this week. But obviously, if the market does great, it'll probably break out of the 200 DMA if the market continues to do well. But this is a solid company that's growing very, very fast, Celsius. And that's something I'm going to review my allocation. Who knows? Maybe I have room to go a little further. We'll see. All right. Let's get into a few other stocks. I want to do RELL before CERN. RELL, another VIP pick. This one brought to us by Julian, which I champion. I have a great video on it at youtube.com, StoryTrading. This has gotten a lot of traction. I've seen increased social media chatter on RELL. I believe they were at LD Micro. I think they were at another conference as well. They've been at some different conferences. And fundamentally very cheap. What's their PE? 16.73 is what it's showing. That's their trailing PE. They're in a bunch of really hot sectors. The only knock against them is they're holding on to one segment that's not profitable, the pharmaceutical business, and their management is not very charismatic when they speak. So it's kind of hard to pay attention to what the story really is and get people excited about it. But we have an excellent presentation on it. I have this in my IRA, and we'll see. I'm going to monitor it. Maybe perhaps I could use more of RELL since it's outperforming. Stocks like RELL and Celsius that you're seeing really outperforming the rest of the market. They're above the 200-day moving average. These are stocks that in the next bull market will lead the bull market, and they'll go to like nosebleed valuations, in my opinion. That's my experience. That's what I've seen in the past. Okay, so I'd like to pay attention to stocks that outperform in bear markets, and perhaps a good idea to go overweight those. All right. Let me get back to CERN. Actually, let me skip to CLFD and we'll come back. CLFD, another StoryTrading VIP pick by Chris Tarbert. Now, this is for me, a boring company and a boring sector. They do like telecom infrastructure. And it's hard for me personally to get excited about this, but Chris has been dead on correct about it and has gained credibility with me. And every time he's come and said, hey, there's some important news, there's some inflection going on here, or this catalyst that just came out super important. Every time he's said that, quickly. So at this point, I have decided to make this a core holding in my IRA. When I say core, I don't mean necessarily large. I just mean something that I'm committed to holding longer term, right? Rather than trading. So this is in my IRA. And last week, Chris got excited about some additional news that came out, some sort of government word for money, I don't know, for like expanding the telecom infrastructure, something like that. I don't know all the details, but on that news, with his credibility and his he was adamant about this, so I added more on that, and it went up like promptly. I was trying to kept racing against me. I think I ended up getting it at 6150. But any case, it's like a 66 now. So yeah, let's go. Anyway, that's great. So thank you, Chris Tarbert. It pays to pay attention to people in our community and has had a track record. So here's a great company. Also a relatively low PE, but growing 27. So CLFT, nice VIP pick. All right, now let's jump back and see what I missed. CYRN. I'm really excited about this as far as a trade goes. There's a lot of elements here. 18,000 in pre-market, 225 by 228, 229. Okay, it's breaking over the 50 DMA. Now, the reason I like this, the sentiment is this is a cybersecurity stock, right? And obviously, the cyber stocks, you could see they had some big moves earlier this year because of the war. You could see this. Look, CERN went from like 2 to like 13, right? Now, this more recent pop is because of a transaction, which now makes it fundamentally appealing. This transaction, they're selling their legacy business, which this is anyway. They're selling. I'll tell you a little more about it, but they're selling it for $10.5 million, and the market cap is 17 million, right? And I think the EV enterprise value is like 7 million or so, 7.5 million or so. So I think with this transaction, you get a negative EV because you got 10.5 million cash coming in. And that's why you saw the stock move from 177 to a high of 320. Now it's back at low twos, and it's trying to break out of the 50 DMA. Now, technically, I love it. Sentiment, I love it. I think this can easily re-challenge 270, maybe even today, right? The question is fundamentally what's going on here. And I'm still trying to figure out because they're selling what they call a legacy business for 10.5 million. And I can't figure out what that legacy business is or what percentage of revenue it represents, right? And I've been trying to collaborate with some people on Twitter who are familiar with this company, and it really does seem so far that it's an unimportant part of their business that's not even listed on their website. So everything they're talking about in terms of threat detection and phishing and all the different cybersecurity stuff they do now seems that it'll stay with them, and that's the portion that's growing rapidly over 100% year over year, which they talk about in the most recent earnings report. So this is something that I think could very quickly, again, perhaps even today, I'm hoping for this week, challenge 270 and perhaps higher. I wish I had more confidence in the fundamentals, but I just cannot find out exactly what percentage of revenue they're going to be losing because of this 10.5 million cash cash that's coming in as part of the deal. But this is something I'm excited about as far as the trade goes. CYRN. All right, another one, SMR, which I noted, I put it out there. It's been on our watch list. This is a SPAC. It was trading under SV, and they merged with a nuclear energy company, which is interesting because I love the nuclear space. I have a bunch of uranium in my IRA. I'm not holding this now. I wish I did, obviously, now with the news that came out this morning. Let's put this on Do Not Disturb. Got a call there. All right. So in any case, SMR this morning, in fact, let's see if I can find the news here. It's going to be, is it here? No. Maybe this tab right here. No, that's not it either. Let's see. Is it this one? No, Home Advisor. It's got to be somewhere here. It's got to be this one. There we go. All right. Fact sheet, wh.gov. This just came out yesterday, over the weekend. President Biden and G7 leaders formally launched a partnership for global infrastructure and investment. And if you read this, you'll see that there's a deal here with Nucor, with that stock I just noted. Hold on one second. With SMR, NuScale. I'm sorry, NuScale. All right. So actually, if we put it in here, we'll see NuScale. U.S. firm NuScale Power will provide $14 million in support for the front-end engineering design study for Romania's deployment of its first of its kind small modular reactor plant. So NuScale builds these uranium, or they want to build these nuclear power plants called small modular reactor plants. Don't know much about them, but in any case, that's awesome credibility. Like, to me, like, forget about the fundamentals for a second. When you see a press release like that coming out of the White House, that tells me that there's credibility behind this company. That's a $450 million company. The SPAC price was 10. It held up, only went to 9. And now you're seeing this morning a gap up 5%. So this is interesting. It's on my watch list. This is something that if it drops to like the low 10s this morning, let's see what the close was on Friday. It was 1026, right? So this thing like drops, oh no, was it? It looks like it was higher. One second. 1026. I would maybe technically it was 1026, but I'd almost say 1042 was a better close price. Maybe that last print was 1026, but let's call it like 1042. If this thing gets to like 1040 to 1050, I might, especially 1030 or something, I might finally step into this. Maybe I should have done it before, but now I have the validation, right? Now I have the note from the White House telling me that this company is credible. So this is something I'm more interested in getting at 1040-ish today, possibly. XXII, thank you, Paulo Gonzalez, for this great idea. We've been playing this, tracking this, making some good money on this one. This is the company that has an alternative cigarette that's 95% less nicotine, which has been taking off because of the statement from the Biden administration that they want to reduce nicotine in cigarettes. So above the 200 DMA, gapping up. I like it. I sold some last week on the way up. I still have a nice position, and let's see how high I can go. We'll continue collaborating with Polo in the VIP trading room. I think that's where he's more active on XXII, and seems like a good stock. All right. Now, going down further down the list, SMSI is one of the most popular, widely held stocks in our community. Had a great close yesterday, the Friday. Again, that looks like it's related to the Russell rebalancing. So the question is, can we have continuation? You see the 50 DMA there at 280, 279, 280. So that'll be important for it if it does break above 280. I don't know of any specific catalyst like this week, aside from the Russell, take it above the 280, but everyone will be watching in our community SMSI. Man, CHWY. Oh, man, This is incredible. Look at this chart. 2050 bullish cross, gapped over the 50. I mean, is this going to $50 eventually? The 200 DMA? Maybe. This morning we had news coming out with a $55 price target from Needham. So $55 price target from Needham. Seems to be a recession resistant food company for your pets. CHWY. And we were all over this when it broke the 20 DMA. I wish I kind of held it long term. My area, I was just trading it a little bit. But turns out to be so far a real solid play. A couple other things we're watching, courtesy of Niraj. We got MOGO. Thank you, Niraj. MOGO's not been doing great, but apparently they have a catalyst coming. They had a great day on Friday, going from like 84 now, closing at like 95 now at 99 cents. We're looking for an app that they have coming out of beta and some announcement maybe this week even. I think they said end of Q2 as well, just like DRIO. So if we get that announcement out of MOGO, perhaps this stock will fly. I don't currently have a position. I know Niraj does. So best of luck to him and everyone who's in that stock. I want to just bring up a couple more. We have MicroStrategy, which I know from a technical perspective, Vince has been trading, been doing really well. MicroStrategy, of course, is really sensitive to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is stabilized, so a MicroStrategy has stabilized. You all know the story there with the leverage they're using to go long Bitcoin. So that was a great pickup by Vince in the trade room. Congratulations on that entry there, Vince. Hope you make a ton of money on that. And we got VTSI, which has been sad for me. I picked up a nice amount of trading shares, and I'm still holding them. I can't sell them. I mean, there's no liquidity, so I've just got to hold it till some catalyst comes. So we know they're going to file their report by mid-August. But yeah, I was in this because the CNN segment. A little bit surprised that it didn't catch more fire among retail and social media. Really, really, actually surprised about that. That was an excellent, amazing spot on CNN. And I think it will catch fire eventually. We've had a time in the past where the stock here on this volume here, and it could happen again at some point in the future. So got a nice core position for my IRA plus a trading position. I didn't intend on holding this long, but I'm going to hold it because fundamentals are good. And when we get our excitement over VTSI and the recession resistant sentiment tailwind police training company that was on CNN. When we get that, that'll be an opportunity to sell some of those trading shares. So very excited about that. Continue. I did buy CFVI around 10.10 to 10.14. It's having a tough time because DWAC's having a crazy, terrible time. I can't believe this is still 25. This should be $10.10. This should be where CFVI is at because it doesn't look like the government's going to let this deal close. It's down 10% this morning. No more subpoenas this morning, this time from New York. Before it was from the SEC. So now you have both the SEC and New York. Basically, I think one way or another is going to make sure this does not go through, in my opinion. That's what they're angling for. The whole controversy there, the whole reasoning for why they're doing this is because apparently DWAC, or they think, already knew their target. And a SPAC is not allowed to know their target when they launch. They knew their target was Trump Group. They already talked to them. And apparently that's against some SEC regulations. So I'm sure it's not the first time it happened, but they're being a little extra careful on this one for obvious reasons. And does not look to me like this deal is likely to happen. So we'll see. SIGA's down 11% this morning because the WHO said monkeypox is not an international health emergency. So that's the story with SIGA. I'm not trading it. I don't hold it. We're monitoring XELB, a pick from Julian, which I'm not. When I say pick from Julian, I don't necessarily mean his is advocating buying it today. He brought it to our attention. Julian brought it to our attention when that deal was announced to sell 70% of Isaac Mizrahi for like $46 million or so. I don't know what's going on here. The stock seems curiously undervalued after that deal. I do have some closer to like 140. I'm underwater on it. Not particularly happy about that, obviously. So we're waiting to see what happens. SEAC, which I lost a ton of money on because of that deal that got scuttled, still on my watch list. They have some news this morning you can take a look at. I don't have a strong opinion on that right now. And then that's about it. You know, I picked up some Oxy last week because Buffett did. I got some uranium, some extra trading shares on that one, and we're monitoring Kodak. So lots of things going on here. Let's take a look at the news in the last 25 minutes, see if anything new came in. Chicken Soup for the soul. CSSE announces distribution of its Crackle Plus. All right, monitoring that stock here. And Jivo has a company and project update. This stock's always an interesting one. I don't have a position. In any case, guys, I was a long one this morning since we didn't do our event last week. Let me wrap up, kind of summarize what I'll be doing today. I'm going to be possibly looking to increase my PLAB, PLAB, possibly looking to add some SMR on a pullback. I'll be hoping to sell XXII on a big pop. I'll be hoping to sell CYRN on a big pop. And that's about it, guys. And I'll be hoping to see DRIO go up consistently during the week and maybe sell some of my trading shares during the end of the week. Good luck, everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.